everyone! Today we are going to talk about one of the most important tools a startup can have. Storytelling. If you think a good story is just what you tell to your friends, you need to think again. Stories are the beating heart of marketing and business. In this video, we will explore how to build a captivating story for your brand and how it can change the fate of your startup. And I will also tell you why you should never underestimate the power of a good story. We'll talk about a fascinating example. The story behind Eight and Bob perfume, which has become a global icon thanks to its unique story. So here is what we'll look at today. What is storytelling and why it is important in business? The Eight and Bob story is a perfect example of storytelling. How to build an effective story for your startup or for your business. Do's and don'ts when building a story. All of this, as always, after our intro. Okay, let's start, but before continuing, I ask you to subscribe to the channel, like and share the video with other people, and above all, if you have any questions, write them in the comments down below. So let's start with the first chapter. What is storytelling and why it is important in business? Storytelling is nothing more than the art of telling stories in an engaging way. We are not just talking about telling what you have done, but about creating an emotional connection with the audience. A good story doesn't just inform, but enchants, inspires, and above all, creates an emotion that remains in people's mind. Imagine a brand communicating with its customers. If its message simply says, "We are the best at doing X," it will hardly be able to capture attention. But if the same company tells its story, the difficulties it faced, the passion that drove it to the board, that same company will begin to seem a human and reliable entity in the eyes of the public. That's why storytelling is crucial for marketing. People don't just buy products. They buy stories, experiences, and meanings. So this is why, for example, according to a study of Harvard University, companies that use a storytelling strategy increase audience engagement by 300% compared to those that limit themselves to purely informational messages. And now we come to one of the most fascinating stories in the world of marketing, that of Eight and Bob, a perfume that has become a true icon. So, we are in Paris at the time of the Belle Époque. A young aristocrat, Albert Fouquet, together with his trusted butler, Philippe, creates personalized perfumes that he gives only to a few close friends. He is very good in that, but he doesn't need money, like for him. Therefore, he has no intention of selling his perfumes, despite a very strong demand in the Paris that counts. In the early 1900s, the French government sent him a diplomatic mission to South America, and during a trip to the Andes, he discovered a flower that, when properly treated, released a unique aroma. He brings dry petals of this flower to Paris and works on its next essence. After many attempts, think a team working at night time with a test tube as if he were an alchemist, he creates another timeless perfume to which, however, he doesn't even give a name. One summer, during a holiday on the French Riviera, he met a young American who would be much talked about in the following decades, John Fitzgerald Kennedy. The two become friends, and before JFK returns to America, Albert gives him a vial of his perfume. After a few months, Albert received a letter from JFK in which the future president declared himself enthusiastic about the perfume and asking him to send in more samples, 8 in particular, and adding, if your production allows, one more for Bob, his brother, Robert Kennedy. The certificate of esteem convinced Albert to put his perfume on sale and above all inspire him to name it 8 and Bob. The perfume was an immediate success in the American jet set, but destiny was lurking. A few years later, in 1939, Albert died suddenly in a car accident. But his scent doesn't die with him. Philippe continued the work of his boss and friend until the eve of the World War II. At that moment, Philippe's main problem became protecting the formulas and bottles from the Nazi invasion. He did it by hiding them in the castle library. He engraves the page of books and hides vials in them. Immediately after the end of the war, Philippe dies, taking the secret to his grave. And it would all have ended there if not, by pure chance, his heirs had opened the right books in the old library of the castle, allowing them to revive the 8 and Bob brand and make it a legend, not only for the quality of the scent, but for its unique and mysterious history. People don't just buy a perfume, buy an exclusive piece of history starring John Fitzgerald Kennedy and Albert Fouquet. Now, to be clear, many have raised objection to the veracity of this story. The house speaks of it as a story handed down orally from generation to generation and explains nothing else. But the point is another. This example shows us how much a story can give value to a product, transforming it from a simple consumer object into an experience to be lived and shared. As I say to two of my customers a few days ago, product or service can always be copied, not a story. So well, now let's see how you can build a story for your brands. What are the essential elements that must be there to create an effective story? First of all, authenticity. The story must be, if not true, the one I told you before is probably not, but at least plausible, not forced. That's because people immediately perceive when a story is made up just to sell. If you are telling your experience or that of your company, make sure that it is genuine and not a trivial shortcut. Authentic stories create a deep connection with the audience. Again, emotion. A good story must be emotionally engaging. It isn't just a matter of telling facts, but of making people live experiences. Think about the challenges you have overcome, the exciting moments you have experienced in your entrepreneurial adventure, the challenges that have pushed you to persevere. Those are the aspects that your customers will remember. And uniqueness. Every startup has its own unique story. So take advantage of it. Tell why you decide to take the peculiar path, what prompted you to choose that market niche, how your product or service was born. If you can align these unique aspects, your story will become memorable. And consistency. Your story should be consistent with the message you convey across all channels. For example, if you are talking about sustainability, every part of your marketing, from website to social media, needs to reflect this value. Otherwise, your story will lose credibility. And now, do's and don'ts when building a story. First, what to do? Focus on a clear and consistent message. Your story should be easy to understand and communicate a strong value that sets you apart. Use the power of emotions. Stories that appeal to emotion are the most powerful. Don't just describe facts, but tell something that makes your audience feel connected to your message. And now, what to avoid? Don't force the story. If your story isn't strong enough, don't try to force it to fit the marketing hole. That's because your customers will notice it. Don't overcomplicate the story. Keep the message simple and straightforward. In conclusion, storytelling is not just a marketing technique, but a real connection tool. A good story can transform a simple product into something precious, capable of creating a deep emotional connection with your customer. We have seen how the story of Faith and Bob has brought an iconic brand to life, and how your startup can do the same with an authentic and engaging storytelling. So, if you have an interesting story to tell or want to improve your storytelling, drop me a line in the comments. And again, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos on how to grow your startup. Thanks for watching and see you next time!